Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and as you guys can tell, today I'm going to be reviewing this new Arrtx acrylic marker set. I actually tested out their last acrylic marker set in a recent video. Of course, we're starting out by unboxing the art supply because that's just how we start out every video. I always want to get my first look at the art supply when you guys do. My first impression about the box is I really like the colors and I really like the patterns. I think the pattern at the bottom of the box is really cool. Also, I did notice the bottom of the box was a little bit jammed, but I think that was my delivery driver's problem. On the back, it shows all of the different colors and how the marker looks. I'm super excited to open these. Just for a brief second, let's talk about what these markers actually are for a minute. First of all, huge thank you to the Arrtx team for sending me these markers. I'm so grateful. But anyways, the markers that they sent me are the Arrtx 48 color acrylic paint markers, 3mm medium tip valve design. And some things about this marker is there's a strong coverage and durable pen tip, there's no pressure on color stacking, there's 50% more ink than general markers on the market, and there's high durability. It's easy to shake and can be reused many times, and it dries quickly. This is what I was told about these markers, but even though these were sent to me, I'm going to have a fully honest review that if you guys want to buy these, you know exactly what you're getting. Okay, now that we've got that figured out, let's go back to the unboxing. I'm so excited to open this and just see all the colors for the first time, and oh my gosh, there are so many different colors. The first thing I noticed though is this bag with tip replacement, so I'm assuming if the tips dry or fray, you can replace it. Also, I was trying to figure out if I could get the markers to come out of the box, because I saw it on the website, but I didn't figure it out. It's kind of hard to see exactly all the colors because the top is black, but I could kind of see. First thing I did was I pulled out a marker, and I noticed there were instructions on the side for how to use it. These tips actually don't come with the marker ready to use. You have to press down the tip to get the marker ink to flow out, so the paint in this case. So I was super excited to get to activating these because I just know it's going to be such a satisfying process, and I'm excited to see the color selection. One negative thing about Arrtx's products, which I've noticed, is every single art supply I've gotten, I've noticed they don't come with swatch cards, which I would really appreciate if they did, but it's okay, I'll use the sketchbook for now. Also, I pulled out my Arrtx sketchbook from my last video that they sent me, which I've literally been loving. It's become my new obsession. I haven't even finished my last sketchbook. I need to work on that, but anyways, it's time to get swatching. I decided to pull out a paper and put it right next to my swatch card from the last acrylic markers I got from them, so I could have my two swatches right next to each other. Having a Dr. Pepper has literally become an every video thing. Okay, first of all, for these markers is you have to shake it because you gotta get the ink like all mixed together and stuff. Make sure every time you open these, you shake them. And then next you have to pump down the tip onto the paper until the ink starts flowing through. For me, it took about 3 for most of them, but this first one took a little longer. I also noticed this pack came with gold and silver, which is super cool because I just think I love those colors. Alexa, stop. Okay, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I don't ever do ASMR, but I feel like art products can be so satisfying to listen to sometimes. Now let's recap what just happened. I swatched every single marker color, and let's talk about the overall color selection. I feel like there's a really good color selection, to be honest. I think there could be more skin colors, but this isn't really a skin tone pack, so I'm honestly really happy with how it is, and I think it's really cool how they come with the gold and silver that are super sparkly, and they also come with a neon orange and a neon yellowish green, so I think that's super fun. Then I labeled this paper by putting Arrtx acrylic marker set 48 colors so that I would know the difference between this one and the other one, which if you're wondering what I keep talking about is I just posted a video recently reviewing their acrylic markers with a brush tip pretty much, so it's more for like finer details, and this one is a chunkier tip, so it's more for big spaces. So that's the difference if you were wondering. Go check out the video. But now I think it's time to start testing them out when it comes to really drawing. I was looking on Pinterest for inspiration as usual, and I saw this picture and it made me think, oh, I could definitely use these for the background of those and just do sketches on top, but I kind of got too lazy to draw people in the end. but basically I kind of just wanted to see how these worked on paper. So I decided to just draw a few blobs and make it as simple on myself as I can for the first time testing it. Just to say from first notice, I honestly think these have such high pigment. I did not have to do a second layer for any of them. I definitely could have to add a little more pigment, but I don't think it really needed it that much, which is honestly really nice and really impressive. And on the website it claimed to be super pigmented, so I'm glad it is, and it didn't just claim that, you know. I also decided to add a few more details in the background with these markers just to kind of get a feel for them a little bit more. Also, I didn't notice the ink drying out at all, which is really good because I mean this is my first time using them, so it shouldn't be running out at all, but it didn't seem dry at all. It seemed super wet and fresh still, which was really nice. By the way, guys, this is kind of random, but I just felt like I needed to tell you I am so freaking sick of winter. I need it to be summer right now or to be on vacation by a beach, because where I live it's literally 20 degrees consistently every day here, and it's been snowing more recently, and I'm so done with it. I was just adding some random little details to fill in the space. I also forgot to mention before, make sure you shake these markers every single time you use them, or else the colors won't be mixed together. Some of it will be dark and some of it will be light, just because it's not mixed evenly. But off camera, I just went ahead and I drew some little sketches with my fine liner on there, just to kind of fill in the space. It was all random. So now that was that page, but now I wanted to draw an actual drawing of a girl, just what I would normally draw, but with these markers. So I decided to cover up the back of this because it bled through, and then I just covered it up with a different paper that's multimedia, and then I actually didn't even end up using that page because I wanted to use my other marker sketchbook, so I couldn't finish it because like I said before, I've literally abandoned the sketchbook and I need to finish it. So I started to draw a face on this one. And recently I made a community post explaining why I mostly draw skinny people, because a lot of people have been commenting and saying, can you try drawing somebody a little thicker or chubbier? I think every body is beautiful, and in no way, shape, or form am I trying to hate and say that only skinny people are pretty. It's what I've learned to draw. So recently I've been trying a little harder. So for this girl, I kind of drew a rounder face. Also, speaking of Tate McRae, y'all, her new album hits so hard. My favorite songs from her are for sure Signs, Miss Possessive, and Nostalgia. And of course I like all of her songs, but I think those are my favorite right now. But I've literally changed my favorite 5 times. Her new songs are just so good. And I'm so happy she collabed with the Kid Laroi, because obviously they're a couple. I outlined this drawing in purple colored pencil, and then I started to color it in with the markers. I do want to say, which for the most part I really like these markers, but they claim to dry quickly, and I don't think that's very much true. For me, I noticed that these markers were pretty wet for most of the time. I kept smearing my hand on them, which you'll see I have brown marker literally all over my hand. And a few times I had to pump down the marker to get more ink flowing, but for the most part it was pretty good. I just want to say it doesn't dry very quick, so you do kind of have to go out of your way to let it dry. Honestly, I don't think it's that big of a deal though, because normally for drawings like this, I don't think I would use these markers just because it's such a big tip. It's hard to draw fine details, so I think I would go with their other set of acrylic markers if I were to draw more drawings like this. But I think what these markers are great for is backgrounds of your drawings, or if you paint rocks or paint on plates or cups or something, that could be so fun. Add little designs. I just don't think they're as great for fine details, or for me at least, I'm not used to drawing with them, but I think if I got used to them or use them more often, I think I could use these a lot and it would be really fun. But I'm just not really used to drawing with such a big nib. That's why I don't feel my art turns out great in this video, but I actually think it turned out better than I thought it would. And for this drawing, I tried to draw a little bit different features than I normally would, and I just kind of tried to do everything different than normal. So I guess it just kind of fits in with the theme, but not at all am I trying to complain about these paint markers. I honestly really like them, and I think they're great. They had full coverage and everything. They were super easy to stack on top of the other markers also, to do layers, which that's always nice, of course. But for this drawing, I was kind of going for more of an abstract look. I wasn't really trying to blend anything in. I was just kind of drawing harsh lines, but I was choosing colors that were kind of close to each other, so it wasn't they all kind of went together, but it was just bolder lines. And then I started to add chunky jewelry that's very noticeable, and I had really big lashes and bold lip movement. I kind of just wanted to make this drawing very unique, somebody who's trying to stand out. Sorry, I just said I think 20 times, but I just added very sharp features on this drawing, and I feel it honestly looks kind of cool in the end. It's kind of a lot to take in because it's just a lot in the drawing, but I feel it just all works together, and it honestly is really cute. Also, sorry if it sounds like I have a lisp. I have whitening strips in right now, but I wanted to make sure I film this voiceover in time to get this video out when I need to. So I have a little bit of a lisp, but I mean, it's okay. When I added the lashes, I made sure to make them very, very long, just because, like I said before, I wanted to be very bold, by the way. I also was noticing I was literally so shaky when I was doing this line art. By the way, I completely blanked. I got out some of my other acrylic markers by them, the smaller detailed ones, just to add, like, outlining and the eyelashes and whatnot, because I just needed it to be a little bit sharper and a little bit smaller. And then I went in with the final highlights on the eyes, of course, with the big chunky white. My desk was really messy, so I kind of needed to clean it up a little bit before we went over, so I just kind of showed me doing that because it was a mess, and I hate mess, honestly. But I feel like both acrylic markers paired really well on top of each other. Like, the smaller brush tip went super well on top of the chunky one. Like, I feel like they were probably made from the same stuff. I could be completely wrong though. They were super similar, and I think they worked super well together. I think this drawing turned out really cool. And yeah, now it's time to move on to the next thing. I wanted to test these markers on a different surface just because the Arrtx team asked me to show me trying it on different surfaces, because these markers are meant to be able to be used on different surfaces. So of course I wanted to test that out. So the first one was paper, but this next one is a little canvas, because I have these in a drawer and I don't really ever use them. So I was like, let's try this out. Like, it doesn't need to be a masterpiece, and as you can tell, I kind of just piled colors together. Like, there's literally no organization towards this. Also, I really wanted to try these markers on cups or like plates, so I should have gone to Dollar Tree and gotten some just to test these on, because I've seen some really cute pictures of them like on Pinterest where you do little designs, and I should have done that, but maybe in another video. Maybe I can do a video like drawing and painting on things instead of paper or something. I don't know, maybe that's stupid. But I finished off this canvas by writing Arrtx on it because I used their markers for it, and it really has no meaning because it's just a ton of blobs, but I just wanted to see if the markers worked well on it, and honestly they worked great. Like, the paint like just went great on the canvas. It was just like normal paint, except you drew it on instead of used a paintbrush. And I decided to hang this up just on my wall that has kind of random stuff on it, like my Arrtx calendar, a different painting, a picture of Jesus, like literally my random wall. I decided to just put it next to there because I felt like it fit in. Okay, you guys, I've drawn on paper, I have drawn on a canvas, and now I want to test it out on one more surface because these are supposed to be able to be used on multiple surfaces. They suggested I could try drawing on a table, but I don't really just have a table lying around that I could draw on. So I think I'm gonna go into my closet and go back into like the old days, like a few years ago when I wanted to be Mariah Elizabeth. I had like some objects that I would try to like paint on. I think I might have some seashells. Let's go see. That is what we are working with. Let's see if there's anything in here. Okay, so in here we have a time capsule from 2020. And we have some old paint palettes that I painted on. Okay, so she gave me two seashells. She gave me this one, which is kind of weird shaped, and then this one, which looks like a unicorn horn. So we're gonna figure out what we can do with these. So I first painted the seashells white, and I figured it would be a lot easier to just use normal paint instead of the acrylic markers, because I didn't want to use up a ton of the ink for those, so I decided to just use normal paint for this, just to make it go faster. But I wanted to do this for a base because I haven't like painted on objects in literally years, but I remember when I used to watch people that did, they would always start with white, so then like the other colors would show up like brighter, and I wanted to do that because I didn't want to have to do multiple coats of the markers on this because the base was like brown. So yeah, my thought process going into this was I wanted to do cherries on this flatter one, and then I just wanted to do like an ombre on the other one of like sunset colors. But for this one I wanted to do teal for the background because I felt like teal and red kind of go cute together to do like cherries on. So yeah, I decided to do it like teal, but there was like this little divot or like hole in the front which was kind of hard to work around. But then for this one I just started to do an ombre effect, which one thing I noticed about these markers is since they don't dry very fast, they kind of bleed into each other, which I did that effect with the canvas, and I did it for this too because I didn't even have to blend them. They just blended together because I didn't wait for it to dry, which I thought was kind of fun and kind of cool. But for the cherries, they didn't really show up great on the blue, so I kind of had to do multiple layers, and they were kind of chunky, so it was kind of hard to show. I think a lot of the faults in this video were my fault. Like, I feel like if I had a bigger shell, it would have looked a lot better. But off camera, I went and I added some details, like the silver on the ombre one, which I honestly think this looks really cool. And then for the cherry one, I got some of the smaller markers out again, and I added some details. I think the cherry one looks terrible. I think I just didn't do it very good, but I think the ombre one looks super cool, and I'm super happy with that. But I think the markers overall did really great on the seashells, and I highly recommend using them on like shells or rocks. So let's review what we've done this video. We unboxed these markers and tested them out on a swatch card. We drew some little doodles just to get started, and then we drew a full face drawing, which that drawing looked super cool. And then we got out a little canvas to test out the markers on, and then finally we got some seashells to test them on, and the markers worked on every single surface we tried. The biggest flaws were the applicator was really big if you want to do little designs, but that's why they have a different set you can buy. And they don't dry very quick, but the biggest pros are that the markers are super high pigment and super high coverage, coverage. Like, you don't need a layer to get the color you want. The markers do layer very well on top of each other, and you get a lot of marker and a lot of ink in the one pen for the price you pay. Overall, I rate these markers an 8 out of 10. I love them so much. Again, thank you Arrtx for sending them to me. And of course, I got your back, guys. Make sure to use my promo code up on the screen right now for 20% off your order. I love you guys so much, and stay tuned for the next video. Bye!